This is the Fourth and Forever podcast. I'm your host, Josh Kirby, and let's get into it.
That's a W.
First and foremost, let's talk about my next 10 prospects I want to bring up. And I think first and foremost, what I feel is one of the most complete wide receivers in this draft. It's either Jeremiah Love or it's Denzel Boston, wide receiver, Washington. He's a junior. He was a junior last year, 6'4", 209 pounds. So, he's got that big, nice frame. He 12 games played, 300 out of 369 snaps played on the outside. So, he's going to be that big body vertical threat. He's had 60 plus receptions in the last 2 seasons, 800 plus yards in the last 2 years, and 20 total college touchdowns. He's going to be a red zone threat, a big deep ball kind of guy, and almost maybe put on a little more weight, but an AJ Brown-esque guy, I think, going deep. He's got a very effective contested catch. He's got pro-ready size and skills. He's not an elite top-end speed, but that's okay. He's not going to burn you over the top every play. That's not what he's there for. He's there to throw it up and have him make a play. His yak's a little limited based on him not having great top man speed, and I would say he prefers more of a man coverage over a zone. He's still sitting in his zones and running, I would say, clean routes is something he's still got to work on, but he's great at physicality on the line. So one, that man coverage definitely suits him very well. A lot of people put his pro comp similar to Michael Pittman or Puka Nacua. This is a receiver that honestly is going to be drafted early in the draft. I mean, he could be a top 10, top 15 pick easily. If there's a team that really needs a number one wide receiver, this guy could step up and really do it. Based on a lot of the not being great in coverage, you might see his production early not as strong as if he might come on later in the season. I think it's something like Tedero McMillan. We really saw him throughout the season progress even more in his contested catches, making big plays, and the production wasn't as obvious early, but throughout the season really held form. I think Denzel Boston can be very similar in that production in his rookie season. Next is Monroe Fleeling, tackle, Georgia. He's 6'7" and 315 pounds. He's a big boy. He, honestly, in my opinion, looks like one of the best, if not the best tackle in the draft. He's got everything you want. Long arms. His foot quickness is insane. He's only allowed 3 sacks in all of 2025. He's improved year to year in everything statistically, which basically generally means he's very coachable. Which, bringing in an offensive player that's switching to an NFL scheme, playing a lot of snaps, protecting and going against higher level talent, having the ability to be coached and be worked through that is such keys. Now, he only started all of 2025. That means every other season he played in college, he was not the full-time starter, which means he may not be used to the workload, but also means the body does not have as much wear and tear. So getting him conditioned right in the NFL is going to be a key, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be a problem for him. If I have to note anything in a more of a negative light, they said he's a better pass blocker than run blocker. But from what I was seeing, he holds he's almost an anchor at the line. All the game film I watched, he pretty much dug his heels in the ground and he pushed you backwards a lot more than he had to trail backwards, which is a sign of a good tackle, someone that can hold their line or move upfield for down the field running blocking. So he may not be the great run blocker, but he can set up a run block very well. I mean, like I said, I think that negative is more of a nitpick from what I've read, because what I've seen, I think he's going to excel in the NFL level, and I think whoever drafts him is getting a certified day one starter. Next, we got C.J. Allen, linebacker, Georgia. I was very impressed by his film more than just what I read about him. High football IQ. He's a strong leader. You can tell the defense runs around him. His play commitment is crazy. It's kind of like everything I watched, he seemed to know what was going to happen before it happened. And that's green dot ability, as they would say. It means he would basically be like a quarterback on the defense. He'd be calling the plays, putting guys into position. He would really bunker that down. And I think that is, he's going to be a centerpiece of someone's defense. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets drafted higher based on his IQ. And now he's going to present a presence the moment he walks into a team. He's 6'1", 235 pounds with good acceleration. So he's got the size. He's got the height to defend passes. He, I mean, in just stats alone, 71 tackles in 13 games last year, 3.5 sacks, and he plays more in the box than overall like coverage. He understands run concepts, I think, a little better. You're not going to have him as your key cover guy. He's going to be way more up close on the line, handling a lot more block run schemes. He's going to be blowing up the line more. Not that saying he can't do the coverage. It just that I don't think that would be his what people are looking at him for. They're not drafting him to be the best cover linebacker in the league. They're drafting him to hold up that middle of that defense and making sure no one gets past that second level. He's very similar to Zaire Franklin. That would be the comp I read up on, and that makes a lot of sense based on the tackling prowess he has. It's going to go hand in hand. I think he's going to come in and be a serviceable member. I don't know if this guy, if it transitions to being elite, I think elite may be something that comes with him over time. But as a true prospect, he can come in and you can insert him on the defense. Someone like that would really benefit learning from a guy like Fred Warner, putting him on that Niners defense, knowing Fred's getting up there in age and just coming off a big injury. That would be a good spot for him. Or going to a team like the Jets, who I think really need a centered linebacker there that's a little younger, that can move a little quicker. You can pair up with Quincy Williams. Next, I got Dylan Thyman, safety, Oregon. 72 tackles, 118 snaps in the slot, 434 snaps in the box, 247 snaps in deep coverage, all on 2025. So he can play everywhere. Wherever you want him to play, he can play anywhere. The problem is, oh, before we get to the problem, well, okay, I would say the problem is he more likely than not is a better back end deep safety in the NFL level, as in he's just the way he plays, it focuses better on the back end. The way he plays the field really well. All the game film, when he sat deep, he made things happen, and he was really able to close separation fast. I think him being a deep safety is going to be a key for any defense to hunker down that back end. He's got excellent anticipation and route recognition, and that's the ability of him playing all over the field, as you can trust him. You can put him in a situation you can trust that he's going to understand what's going on. He wraps up well in space. He plays the ball well. He's relatively quick, but not the quickest. And I think the biggest thing I noticed about him is he's a good tackler. He can tackle. He will get to the ball. Now, he's not a hard hitter. I wouldn't consider him he's going to be thumping guys to the ground, but he's going to make the play. And that sometimes is just as good, because sometimes those hard tacklers, they hit a running back and they bounce off, not realizing this running back is running at full speed at them. This guy is going to tackle well. He's going to get the guy down, and he's not going to. He's not there to deliver a big hit. He's there to deliver a proper tackle, a game breaking play, something that he really can do. Next would be Akeem Mesidor, edge from Miami. Now, he's paired up with the other Bain, the other top. He's probably going to go higher in the draft, top 5 pick maybe. But he doesn't get overshadowed. This man himself has elite production in his college career. 12.5 sacks last season, 50 hurries, and 4 forced fumbles. He's got 6 years of college, so he's a little older than most prospects coming out. He's already 25, but that's a presence you can come in. You know he's ready to play. Like, he's not his size. You don't have to work about his body, his conditioning, his size. He's where you almost want a lot of these younger 21, 22-year-old athletes to be, and he's already in that prime positioning. He's posted a minimum of 30 plus tackles every season, except for 2023 when he sustained a foot injury. So it's a good thing to note that he has dealt with an injury, but that was in 2023. So in almost 3 years later, he's been relatively healthy. I don't think that's going to be an issue. He's got an explosive first step and good movement speed, relentless effort. Like I said, he's a day one starter. You're drafting him to come in and immediately start on your team because he's at the age, the mental capacity where he can handle it. I have to say the thing that I noticed the most, two things I noticed the most, one good, one bad. One good is I think looks really strong against good teams. Teams with good offensive lines, teams with good records, he tend to really shine very well. He is prone to over pursue a little bit. I did see him getting a little over skis. I think running quarterbacks, specifically ones that are really good at scrambling, might give him a little bit of a fit, as a lot of times he'll come around the outside and he'll get way back on the back end of the quarterback, and a guy like Lamar, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, or experienced quarterbacks are going to take that and start taking off with that. That's something I think he can work on a little bit. They say his comp is Jonathan Grenard. I could see that, just a solid veteran presence, a guy that comes in and he seems more mature than his age and seems he's going to be a more mature aspect adding to your team. I think he's got a good potential of being a really good player for whatever team picks him up. Next, we got Avion Terrell, cornerback out of Clemson. 29 receptions on 51 targets allowed. He's only had 3 touchdowns scored on him and 340 yards against him. He's he's pretty top tier. It's hard to have big games against him. It's hard to make big plays against him. His brother's AJ Terrell, and he plays very similar, but I would say he's a little more versatile. High football IQ. He anticipates throws well. He follows through on every hit. Something that I noticed on the game film specifically, as in some like Thyman, like I was talking about, he makes a tackle, he brings him down. Terrell's going through you. If he's tackling you, he's going through you. He's going to drive you back, take you down. He's going to complete the tackle, but he's going through the hit. He wants to go when he's delivering a hit. He wants to go through you, and that can be a positive for some defenses that play a more aggressive mentality. But a more of a conservative defense is just trying to get him down. He might have some issues getting you against some of the bigger running backs, such as like a Derrick Henry. Trying to do that against him may not be as effective. Now he does have 8 career forced fumbles. That's a lot for a corner. That means even if they catch the ball or if someone is making a move on it, he will go make a play. 90 solo tackles of 125 total tackles. That's impressive. That means like I said, Yak is not something that you're going to get a lot against him. He's not really known for forcing turnovers. That's not his thing. He's not an interceptor. He's not a ball. He plays man a lot more than he plays the ball. He had only 110 snaps in the slot, but from what I've seen, I wouldn't be surprised if he slides into the slot based on his production of how they use him as a corner blitzer. Just overall based on how he plays, I see it's AJ Terrell, but I think I could see a lot of Marlon Humphrey in him, where he's physical, but he wants to be engaged in the play. He don't mind corner blitzing, but he can play the outside. He can play inside. He can be a very versatile guy with good coaching. He can be one of your most versatile defensive backs, specifically corners, where you can play him against any receiver and really have a good matchup advantage. Next, I got Cassius Howell, edge from Texas Tech. 11.5 sacks in 2025, 570 of 591 snaps against the outside tackles. So he plays the edge pretty solidly. He can line up everywhere, but you're going to see him on the edge more often than not. He's viewed as more of a late first, early second round pick, just because I think it's a heavy edge draft, and there's splitting hairs with some of these guys. I was impressed by his film, but I think the biggest thing that shined on tape is he immediately establishes leverage at the snap. His explosive first step, and most importantly, his variety of rush moves. He seems versatile. You are in each play, he's whether it's a spin or a club or a swim, whatever he was doing to get to the quarterback, he could do it different ways against really talented tackles as well. Now he is smaller in arm reach compared to most edge rushers in the NFL at an elite level, but he doesn't have to come in and be elite. I don't think a lot of people see him as an elite player. I think what we're seeing more speed over power and very much of a Will McDonald from the Jets kind of comp, where he can do a lot of things, he can create a lot of noise. He may not be the best edge rusher in the league, but in his time, if he's considered a top 10, a top 5, that means his pick is more than worth it. I think you're bringing in a guy that's going to have immediate impact on your team, whether it may not show up in the stat sheet, but it's going to show up in overall team production. I think a team bringing him in would be really smart. I think like I said, I think he's just going to be proven to just do it. He plays a lot of snaps. He's out there a lot. He can constantly establish pressure, and I think that may be his key. He may not have a lot of huge sack numbers, depending on how big the tackles he's going against. But against some of the smaller right tackles, I think he'll probably line up more on the right side. If I'm betting on, I think he could do really well in this league. Next is TJ Parker, edge for Clemson. In 26 games in his last 2 seasons, he had 18 sacks, 22 quarterback hits, 52 quarterback carries, and a career total of 127 tackles. He's 6'3", 265 pounds. He's very quick for his size, being a bigger guy, and he can perform across the whole line very well, but thrives on the outside. He's not really great in coverage. He lacks a little consistency, and he's not really, as I talked about before with Cassius Howell, how he's got the ability to so many rushes in his toolkit. Parker's different. He's not. He does not have an elite pass rush toolkit. He's pretty, I would say, point blank. Period. Like you see what he is. That's the product you're gonna put out. That's the product he's gonna put out. A lot of people compare to him, say he's Bradley Chubb, maybe just a little less explosive. Truthfully, out of all the guys I've looked at, I think he's an edge rusher that could really struggle in the NFL. I think his lack of consistency can catch up to him. I think him not having a lot of great pass rush moves, he means he's got to land to a coordinator, a defense coordinator that understands him and that can teach him. He's got to be willing to learn. He's a guy that easily, I think, may have a job as a rookie, but may not have a very good sustainable career. I could be wrong, but it definitely does concern me when I see lack of consistency. It means you do not always show up in big games or you do not show up in valuable moments. It shows that if you're not able to be consistent at a college level, that at the pro level, it's going to be even harder when you have more elite talent surrounding you, also fighting for production, and you have an offense that is prone to stopping you. So that is something to look for. I think out of all the edges, he's more on the bottom of the list, but there's just it's such a large edge draft that if he gets in the right system, he gets with the right coaches, he gets with the right mentors, they could really coach him up and he could be the best edge coming out the draft. I don't see that being the case, but we'll see where he gets drafted when I do my mock draft. And then when the drafts actually happen. Next I got Emmanuel McNeil Warren, safety Toledo. I like this guy. I like this guy a lot. I don't think he's the best safety in the draft. I don't know if he's the top one or two, but I think he's definitely one of the more impressive players in the draft. 60 plus tackles, 30 plus solo tackles in each of his last 3 seasons, including 61 tackles and 35 solo tackles in 2024 when he only played 8 games. That means this man is a production, he's a unit. He's played 401 out of 654 snaps in the box, a true strong safety. He's going to be up in the box, he's going to be a disruptor, he's going to be a guy that can play very versatile, whether it's more in the he's going to thrive in a nickel defense. Really is. He's so talented. I think as just a production machine, and literally production machine is what I have written here. He said over his career, he has 214 tackles, 5 interceptions with a pick six, 13 passes defended, 9 forced fumbles, and 2 fumble recovery. His instincts are just off the charts. Now, not every defense caters to having a 2 to 3 safety unit as consistent or even draft them this high. A lot of safeties don't get drafted this high. Even Kyle Hamilton, who's been one of the best safeties in the league, he was drafted 14th, 18th, something like that. He was drafted in a later pick. He wasn't an early pick in the first. This is a guy that I think is 100% going in the first. I think a team is going to take a shot on him because I think he has the ability to be a game changer, a game wrecker immediately. He has that Kyle Hamilton, Nickel Imawari production quality day one. You're going to put him on this defense and you're going to see what he can do immediately. I wouldn't mind. I mean, if we didn't draft Malachi Starks last season, I would love to pair this guy up with Kyle Hamilton, having Hamilton be able to drop back again, and them two just doing whatever being more versatile with how each of them play. He's going to be a great role player wherever he goes. Like I said, I liked him a lot. Out of all the players I've talked about today, so far up to this point, this is a guy that I'm really excited to see where he goes and how quickly he makes an impact. This is a guy that really I wouldn't be surprised if in Defensive Player of the Year talks at the end of his rookie season, as long as his health stays up, which looks like it should. But last but not least, I want to talk about the first tight end I'm going to talk about, Kenyon Sadiq from Oregon. He's 6'3", 245 pounds, so he's got a good size on him and weight, but he's definitely smaller compared to most NFL tight ends in height. He's got 51 receptions on 67 targets, 560 yards, and 8 touchdowns in 2025. He's ran the fastest 40 by any tight end since Vernon Davis, who set it in 2006 the record. He posted a 4.39. He played 241 snaps in the slot, which is, I think, a key trait, meaning you can line him up across the line. I think you can really line him up anywhere. He's played role on the outside. He's probably more efficient in the slot, but you can also line him in a true tight end role. A lot of people say he's a better offensive tool than blocker. I mean, a lot of people think he's just what he can do, his versatility. It's something that they're really going to have to focus on. He gets a lot of Brock Bowers comparison, not more so based on how Brock Bowers wouldn't be a traditional giant tight end, but he's very on his production and his hands and his ability to his catches and his catch radius and his speed and all of that. He is great at contested catches, adjusting to the ball when it's in the air and securing it. I like Sadiq a lot, but I also think this is a guy that you really have to find a team that knows how to utilize his talents. Such as I think Kyle Pitts had all the upside in the world, went to the Falcons, they had no clue how to use him. He's looking, and then he underperformed, I would say, from where he was drafted. Then you guys, a guy like all the talent in the world, like Isaiah Likely on the Ravens, who I think knows how to use tight ends, but with already having big boy Mark in front of him, doesn't get the production he should probably get with the ability he has. Sadiq could be in a similar situation. If he gets drafted to a team where they don't know how to put a tight end to use, it could really hurt his overall stock in the NFL. Now, a team like the Chiefs, who would have Travis Kelce, even if they keep Travis another year, this would be a guy who would benefit probably from a veteran being in the room and teaching him more the NFL way and how to kind of use his weight and even his shorter size to an advantage. Him playing in the slot is going to be a key difference maker on teams. And as you know, Mahomes loved to have his tight end moving out wide. Travis did go out wide. Travis played the slot. Like having a tight end that can do that, I can see Kansas City being really intrigued by him, especially if Travis retires. But this is a guy that I think can be a difference maker on any team, but I wouldn't put him above any of the receivers I've talked about so far. But it definitely, I would say, is the clear best tight end in the draft. Now, that was the next 10. Now that we've talked about 30 prospects now, I think it's good. I think it'll be interesting to see what all these guys do. Like I said, I'm factoring all this in, still watching game film. Even the guys like Sonny Styles just had a phenomenal combine, and I'm going to really look into him. I think he's going to be a top 5 pick easily in the league. But just going through my mock draft that I'll put out, we still got another almost 2 months, or about a month and a half until the draft. So it'd be nice to see what we do from there. I'm excited. Personal news before I continue, I am moving. The podcast is going to be in a new location, still in a room somewhere, just not in the same state. So in the week of probably end of March, beginning of April, I'm going to be set up to move. So the production of putting out the podcast may be a little more difficult the next few weeks, but I'm still going to. It may not follow the same regular schedule that it has been. Like today, I'm recording on a Tuesday instead of a Monday, but just trying to get everything together. But my goal is to have everything at least put out a week, and if not, I'm going to probably drop out down some clips probably coming out the week of the move, so take a little stress off of me and still get the entertainment for you guys. But let's get back to it. David Montgomery was traded to the Texans. We knew he wanted out. We knew he wanted to get paid. He wanted the production, and he wanted to be seen as the number one running back. And I think in the now after drafting Gibbs, last 3 years, Gibbs has proven he is now the better running back. He is the guy to move forward with. He's the guy to play. He's the guy that Lions really need to settle on, and then trade him to the Texans. And the Texans are getting workhorse back. I think the only thing that this hurts is Woody Marks. But I think it's good for the Texans. I think the Texans have now a solid running back they can rely on. And they have a similar 1-2 combo there with Marks and Montgomery. They can pay Montgomery like a top back because Woody Marks is going to be on a rookie deal. So you can give him the money he wants and the position title he wants and still play Woody Marks almost as much as you did last year. So you got to really, I think it hurts fantasy value a little bit where you don't know who's going to have more production throughout the fantasy season, whether it be Marks or Montgomery, but it might open up Marks to a late round pick in the draft. So that's something for fantasy owners to really pay attention to about what is going to happen with these teams. But I think the overall David Montgomery is the winner here. I think he gets what he wants out of this, and I think the Lions are a big winner here. Lions are able to move past some money they would have spent on him, put it towards more focus on their defense. They're able to really give Jahmyr Gibbs the reins and really see if, before they give him a huge deal, how great he's going to be. I think the loser of this trade might be the Texans. I hate to say it. Now you got 2 running backs you have to make happy. You're going to have to pay him. You're going to have to pay Marks at some point, and you're going to be paying Montgomery now. And the offensive line is your biggest issue. This trade could be all for naught if you don't have an offensive line that they can run behind. If you don't have an offensive line that can really lay into the opposing defense, it's all for naught on this team. So I think the Lions and Montgomery are both winners here, but I think based on what the Texans do in this free agency and how they bolster up their offensive line will really decide where they're going moving forward and if this is actually a smart trade for them. They gave up a fifth round pick, which may not seem like much, but guys like George Kittle, Puka Nacua, they were fifth round picks. So we'll see what happens. Now, next segment, let's talk about the NFC North. Last week we talked about the AFC North, but I decided to switch up. Let's drop to the other side. First and foremost, the Lions. All these teams are over the cap, by the way. From my research, I'm not going to get too deep into the cap numbers since there's so much flexibility that still needs to move around. I did it last week with them, but I realized with free agency coming up, with restructuring of deals, so much going on, the cap is so fluctuated. But I always say the Vikings is the worst, but they're all pretty bad. Um, the Lions just traded one of their running backs. I don't think they're going to look to replace him in the draft unless they draft someone in the later round. They might just bring in a veteran that just can just be a good backup number two instead of and probably more of that power. Bring in maybe Nick Chubb if he wants to still play. That'd be interesting. Um, they need to improve on defense. Their defense was horrid with injuries again last year. I don't really know if they got to go get a linebacker. I don't know if they got to go get a corner, a safety. If they got to trade some pieces that they don't want to trade just to shake things up. I don't know what they have to do, but they have to get better on defense. And health can't be the only reason. The 49ers did not use health as an excuse and still were able to put together a playoff team. They should focus in the draft, in my opinion, on getting a corner or another edge rusher to pair with Hutchinson. But truthfully, I think they need to bring in some veteran offensive linemen or even draft a really healthy offensive lineman. They have retired offensive linemen, they have older offensive linemen. I think it's time to fresh it up and get someone paired up with the younger guys that you do have on the line to really bolster that up. Because point blank period, your team runs through golf. Golf had a good season last year, didn't have a great season, but your offensive line wasn't great and your defense was horrid. So I think you know the formula. That's the formula. You get Alex Anzalone and DJ Reader both on your defensive side up for free agency. Those are two names you can let one of them go, but you have to replace both of them. I think truthfully, I would probably keep Anzalone. Pairing him up with Jack Campbell is really good for the middle of your defense. Letting DJ Reader walk, I think, would be a good choice because he might be a little more expensive, but you need to bring in someone else to bolster up that D line. You cannot let teams run all over you. They do have the number 17th overall draft pick. I could see them going to get a corner. I could really see a corner or a true safety falling to them, which might mean less playing time for for Kirby Joseph or Brian Branch. But truth being told, if they're not healthy and not getting the job done, they need people to come in and make plays. I think them taking a corner is more likely the route, but we will see how it goes. They do have 8 total draft picks, so they can use a lot of that on defense if they want or offensive line because I think they're pretty set in the receiver room. They can maybe use one on a late round running back. I think they're pretty set overall on what they want their offense to be. They really need to bolster down that defense. Next, we got the Green Bay Packers. They have to restructure some deals, move some cap space. They need a cornerback desperately, maybe some interior linemen. Offensive line depth doesn't hurt any team. Their undrafted free agents, I think, are more severe. Romeo Dobbs has been a very reliable, good target for Jordan Love. They have a really good connection. Quay Walker, who's been one of their better linebackers, Rasheed Walker, their starting left tackle, and Malik Willis, who is going to hit free agency and probably go land a job somewhere. So Jordan Love has proven he's going to miss games. You need a backup quarterback in there that can win games. Point blank, period. Like, there's nothing more to it. You have to bring someone in that can win. So that's something they have to address, whether it's a veteran quarterback or someone young that they feel like they can really run this system, kind of like Malik. That was the way to do. I think let Romeo Dobbs walk. I know he's a valuable target, but you got too many receivers there now anyway, and you can't pay them all. I mean, you can't pay Watson, can't and Reed and Dobbs, and now you got Golden, and you got now 2 tight ends. Kraft coming off injury, you got Musgrave there. That's played pretty well when Kraft went down. You got Josh Jacobs and your running back. You got so many pieces you have to pay for. I think it'd be a very, very wise move to let Dobbs walk and maybe Rasheed Walker. I think he's kind of older, so bringing in another left tackle, but that's a risky move. I think locking up Quay Walker is a need, though. This defense played really well last year, and Michael Parsons is coming off a late season injury. to especially to his lower leg, you're going to want to make sure you have your defensive unit mostly intact. So if it takes Parsons a couple weeks into the season to come back, you know you got a perfect defense that you can perfectly slot him in there, but it's not completely reliant on him. They have the number 20th overall pick, and they have 8 total draft picks as well. I think number 20 is a solid is a solid start. I think that is a at a good position they can draft a good corner there. I think their biggest issue is just a lot. I think there's a lot of teams in this draft that need a corner, and I think the top end draft on the corners is very solid. But I think once you get past 5, 6 guys, it's very they're all kind of blend together. So I wouldn't be surprised if the guy they want leaves, them dropping out of the first round and accumulating more picks or draft capital in general. So I think that 20th pick could go either way for them. Like I said, but we'll see how they use it. Next up, I got the Bears. They need to build on that defense. I think they should draft all defense, handle free agency. They have an expensive offense of guys that are going to get paid. You got plenty of weapons. Burden looks like he's going to work. Dunze and Williams have a really good connection. You got Colson Loveland, star tight end. You got a good running back duo there. If I was them, I'd probably trade DJ Moore. It's been an inconsistent relationship with Caleb Williams. DJ Moore is an older player. I think he's going into his like 8th or 9th season. He's really been around now. Get the capital you can for him. Move off his money. Send him somewhere that would really utilize him. I think the Ravens wouldn't be against it. Just saying. But I think that would be really important. They have the number 25th overall pick and 7 draft picks. So that 25th, I think, is really going to be focused on getting a solid key player in the defense. I think based on how we've talked about, so I've now gone through 30 guys, someone like a Cassius Howell might fall to this position. Or even someone like safety um, McNeil Warren from Toledo, who I think is going to be a production machine. Getting one of those guys late in the draft on your team would be a win. And might be like I said, it might not be a solid like that they're going to be there, but if they are there, I think that would be a good pickup for either of these units for this unit. Sorry. And last but not least, the Vikings. I think their first question is JJ the guy. Me personally, I like JJ. I think he's a good kid. I think he was put in an unwinnable situation coming in after what Sam Darnold did, and I think it was a lot. I think he lost some confidence. I think he doesn't look nearly as good as we hoped, and I don't think anyone had high expectations to begin with. I think they got a serious issue where they should not put JJ back out there as a starter next season. They might have to. If I was them, I'd bring in a veteran to come in and start next season. Let JJ sit again. I think JJ needed a true year to sit, and being injured is not the same as a true year to sit. So I wouldn't be surprised if they go get Malik Willis or bring in Marcus Mariota or even try to pitch it to Aaron Rodgers again. Like just bring in someone where he can sit for a year, maybe bring him in late season depending on how the record goes. I know it's a funky way to do it, but I just don't think he's ready. They have huge cap issues. They're got to restructure a lot of deals. They already told Aaron Jones and Javon Hargrave if they don't find a trade, they're going to release both of them, which that's one of your premier running backs and very valuable piece on the D line. Plus, Eric Wilson's a depending free agent, one of your better linebackers. This is a team that is walking into more questions next year than answers, and I am very not high on the Vikings. I think they have the right coach. I think they have great offensive weapons. I think they have great coordinators. The coaching staff, unbelievable. They're elite, top tier talent, unbelievable. But I think once you get past the elite, the Justin Jeffersons, the Christian Derrishaws, like guys with I think really top end talent, it starts getting really mucky. Well, they're all just depth guys, not high performance guys, and that's something that coaching has hit a lot of, but it can't completely hide it, and it can't hide it if it's at your quarterback position. They have the number 18th overall pick. I don't see them selecting quarterback. I think it would not make any sense in the world. I really could see them either boosting up their offensive line more, drafting a running back late, or just going up and shoring up that defense, bringing in a safety. McNeil Warren, I think would be a great player on this team. I don't at 18 that would be a very respectable place for him to go. And this team just more likely than not, I don't know if it's confirmed. I have to double check. I was talking to my brother this yesterday. If Harrison Smith is really retired and done, you need someone to come in and fit that safety spot. No matter how you do it, you bring in another true safety. It would be a great transition period, and the fans would really accept it. So that's what I have for what I would do for the NFC North. So we got more breakdowns to do. We got more prospects to do. I'm not feeling so well today. Ended up spending most of the morning in bed, recording it later than I thought. So I'm going to go back to resting, relaxation, and then hopefully doing some homework. So everyone have a great rest of your day, and thank you.